Dwayne Haskins is apparently out in DC. The Cowboys can't find a way to stop the run. The Giants won't be suspending Golden Tate for his participation in a bare knuckle brawl. And somehow the Eagles find themselves atop of the division with a 1-2-1 record. I'm Keith, host of Sportsvibestv, and this is our weekly NFC East update. The Washington football team has decided they're going to bench their first-round draft pick from last year, Dwayne Haskins, in order to move forward with Kyle Allen at quarterback. Why they're deciding to do this, I'm unsure. I don't think they gave Dwayne Haskins enough time to prove that he could be a starting quarterback in the NFL. The Washington Redskins offensive line is pretty shaky, which is comparable to a lot of the other teams that have young quarterbacks that aren't performing to expectations. So is it surprising to see Dwayne Haskins not perform to expectations? No, it's not surprising. I don't think the Washington Redskins really, I'm not supposed to say Washington Redskins. I don't think the Washington football team has really done anything to really build a supportive cast around Dwayne Haskins. They drafted Chase Young at 2, which you can't really argue, he was the consensus pick at that spot. But outside of that, they really haven't, added pieces to that offensive line to keep Dwayne Haskins upright. They moved Trent Williams, they traded him recently in the offseason, and they really haven't found a piece to replace him. So it's unfortunate to see Dwayne Haskins get benched so quickly into the season. He actually is not even the backup. They moved him down to third string, not even third string. They moved him down to like the fourth string because the practice squad quarterback ended up getting more reps than Dwayne Haskins. They said Dwayne Haskins just stood on the side of the practice field and, just had his arms crossed, pouting, which is not a good sign. So, well, it is a good sign because it pretty much shows that there is no, path to repair that relationship. If you are not even going to have the heir apparent to, not even the heir apparent, but if you're not going to have your quote unquote franchise quarterback taking any reps before your next game, that's a big problem, and that's a sign to a divorce upcoming. The Cowboys, they're dealing with an abundance of injuries in their linebacking corps. Sean Lee is out, Vander Esch is out, and they're dealing with injuries on their offensive line. Tyrone Smith is dealing with an injury. He did not practice in the most recent Cowboys practice. So that's going to be a player you should keep an eye on to see what his availability will be like in the upcoming game against the Giants. The Cowboys in their last game against the Cleveland Browns, they ended up giving up 300 yards on the ground. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt pretty much did whatever they wanted to do out there on the field. And as a Giants fan, I'm feeling pretty good about this upcoming game because the Giants' running game has been virtually non-existent outside of a Daniel Jones scramble. So to go up against a team that is showing the inability to stop the run, I think this will be a great game for us to actually get our running game going. And that's actually a great way to segue into the Giants news. It appears that Joe Judge is not going to discipline Golden Tate. If you're not familiar, Golden Tate recently got into a little scrum with Jalen Ramsey. During the game, it was pretty chippy, but I thought it was just, regular in-game, trash talk. But if you look into the situation a little further, you'll find out that Jalen Ramsey is actually the baby father for Golden Tate's sister. And I don't want to get too much into the specifics, but basically Jalen Ramsey pulled a Paul George, cheated on his sister with a stripper. One thing led to another. Golden Tate threatened Jalen Ramsey, and this was the first time I would assume the two have seen each other. So basically, it turned into a fight after the game. Joe Judge is saying, based on what he saw and what the cameras caught, Jalen Ramsey was actually the initiator. He was the instigator and threw the first punch. So on that basis, or on those grounds, Joe Judge is not going to suspend Golden Tate. But if you ask me personally, I think this is just Joe Judge holding down his player. I'm pretty sure Joe Judge is aware of the situation. And if you watch a lot of the Giants players or even the Rams players, not too many of them were trying to actually get involved and join the fight. Most of them weren't even trying to break up the fight. It seems like everybody was trying to like clear everybody out and, let these two dudes deal with what they got to deal with. It's a personal beef. Let them handle it. Even after the game, Jalen Ramsey is reported to have waited at the Giants locker room. So based on that information, I'm gonna say Golden Tate took a dub, because if you get into a fight or a physical altercation with somebody and you leave feeling like you the winner, me personally, I'm not gonna turn around and try to go get some more. I'm gonna take that dub and bounce. So I'm gonna assume Golden Tate took the best of that exchange. So I'm gonna give the Giants the first W of their season. And with that being said, let's move on to the division leaders, the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles ended up beating the San Francisco 49ers, which put them in first place of the division with a 1-2-1 record, which is kind of putrid when you think about it. The Eagles, I won't say it was anything good the Eagles did. They pretty much just took advantage of Nick Mullins, something I believe the Giants should have did instead of, allowing Nick Mullins to be out there looking like, Steve Young, which to me was an embarrassment, frankly. But the Philadelphia Eagles did what they had to do, and they, emerged victorious, putting them in first place. Now, the Eagles still have a bunch of issues when it comes to their offensive line. Their offensive line is shaky at best. They basically, their game plan or the way they succeeded was what I said the Giants should do. They made sure that they did not let the players that were replacing the injured Nick Bosa and, all those other studs that ended up being injured, they didn't allow those players to come in and take over the game or to affect the game dramatically, something the Giants were unable to do and were unsuccessful, which is why we ended up losing and we ended up giving up 4 sacks in the first half. So the Eagles, they still they're on the inside track to winning the division. Do I think they're going to win the division? No. I highly doubt they're going to win the division. The Philadelphia Eagles are talented in areas, but they're still a very flawed team. I'm going to assume the Dallas Cowboys are going to get it together, but the season is still young. It remains to be seen how these teams will develop or improve as the season progresses. And as a Giants fan, I'm still hopeful. Mathematically, we still are in contention. Is it likely? No. But as a fan, you just have to, be optimistic and hopeful. That's pretty much what is, being a fan all about. So you guys, let me know how you feel down in the comments when it comes to these players and these teams, and how you think the NFC East is going to shake out. I want to thank you guys for sticking around and watching the show. I'm Keith, host of Sportsvibestv, and I'm out.